Greetings, Earthlings! Before we start exploring, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, wherever you're listening. It helps more people find the show and supports our mission of making science accessible to everyone. You're here with DJ Stellar Cloud. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome back to the Exploring Your Universe radio show. Exploring Your Universe is UCLA and LA County's largest science fair. In 2025, we had our largest turnout ever with over 12,000 people. A big part of that was thanks to our 68 or 76, so close, booths. And we're going to hear so much about that today from our guest, DJ Obvious. You're listening to DJ Stellar Cloud, aka Megan Grace Lee, and today I am joined by Avital.
Hello.
So Avital was our booth coordinator for this year. She was a solo booth coordinator. It is the hardest job on the board, and she held it down. She's a second year PhD student in the chemistry department, where she is a computational chemist.
Yay.
I'm so happy to have on DJ Obvious. So you really got thrown into the deep end this year. It was your first year on the board. You had just been like a general volunteer with CNSI the year before, the California Nanosystems Institute, and then you became our solo booth coordinator and you brought it home. What was that like?
It was definitely a transition from just volunteering, but I really enjoyed it. I would say the biggest thing was just getting acclimated with not only the mission of EYU, because I was pretty aware of the mission, but specifically like how the mission comes together on the back end.
Yeah.
Because when you're just a participant, you get to see kind of all of the best parts. You get to have all the like fun interactions right off the bat. It's kind of more of a low commitment, but you like start to understand like why the event exists just from volunteering.
Yeah.
And then from the back end, you get to see like all of the work that goes into it, and also get to know all like a really wide range of kind of like ideas and ways of presenting science to like all the kids. So you get to see like, oh, this is one way that this group has thought of that's really exciting to share their research. But there's like you said, like we have like about 70 booths.
Yeah.
And that's like 70 ways of people getting to share their experience and to do their best to share that with like a specific age range, right? So like for like younger adults, younger kids going into hopefully like finding a love for science. And I thought that was definitely the biggest transition. And then of course managing something that you've never really seen before is pretty difficult.
Yeah.
So definitely like having a lot of support from people was really helpful. But that was the main thing, was like it's pretty hard to manage something that you've never seen at all. So
yeah.
yeah.
I love that. And I love how you frame the 70 different booths as like this is the brainchild of 70 different scientists, 70 plus, because booths are made up of teams. And you kind of like, I don't know, from the outside you hear 70 booths, you think like, okay, maybe ubiquitous swag tents or something like that, but it's not that. It's like people pouring their heart and soul into sharing science with the public. I love how you framed that. That was so sweet. And then, speaking of managing things that you've never seen before, when we all started in 2022, Abijah was the only person who had seen EYU before.
Just crazy.
Because everybody else had only seen it on Zoom. So Danny and Glenn, DJ Lil Duo, and Glenn Nirwano had seen it on Zoom. But that's it. And I didn't know what was going on. I was first year and I joined and I was like, wow, this is crazy. But yeah, so being stuck at one booth versus like sort of having the bird's eye view over everything is definitely a huge transition. But I'm kind of curious, like, were you feeling overwhelmed at all? You can be honest with me. I'm not going to be upset.
I definitely was at some points overwhelmed, but I think I genuinely never felt overwhelming like stress load.
Oh, that's great.
Because one, like Megan's always there to help. Like genuinely, like if something was confusing or I didn't understand what was going on, like there was always someone who was willing to help, who would explain what was going on. I think honestly breaking things down into smaller parts made it feel like super manageable. I totally understand how you could get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But I will say, when you have a bunch of overwhelming research priorities and courses and writing like proposals and things, sometimes it's just a nice break to have to do something totally different with a totally different kind of purpose. And so honestly, I never felt extremely overwhelmed. Maybe the first 30 minutes of the Sunday of the actual event, when I was trying to figure out if I could give everyone their supplies and eat something.
Aww.
That was probably it.
Yeah.
When I left some of my friends to hold the fort down for a little, and then I immediately felt insane. So I would say that was probably the only little thing.
I will just say we were all overwhelmed during those 30 minutes. It was not just you. I was supposed to be speaking at the brunch. Somebody fainted in the planetarium.
Yep.
This all happened within like 15 minutes of each other. And we have to distribute all 70 packets of supplies to our booths. Y'all at home can't see this. So a few months ago, DJ Obvious told me that her favorite holiday was Christmas. And so I happen to be the Christmas tree today, and I'm wearing a Christmas tree costume right now, but I can hear it in the microphone. So
and the light bulb earrings.
Yes, the light bulb earrings. We are very festive here. But I mean, that's the kind of people you want running this.
True.
Okay. You had the cutest outfit on during that half hour, though. Okay, so the Dodgers had just won the night before. Yes. It was a crazy EYU, and you had like the cutest like braids or something in the Dodgers hat.
I needed to be festive for the festive day.
Yeah,
it was a big day for me.
Yeah.
So I thought, let me be my cutest self I can be. Yeah, the Dodgers hat. I feel like a lot of people were in their Dodgers swag, which was cute.
They were.
And themed for blue EYU.
I know. A lot of my friends showed up in Dodgers gear, and I'm like, you know what? That works.
That's perfect. I was like, you're all ready to go. Yeah.
So we've actually never had a booth coordinator on the podcast before, because the previous one was me, and I've never spoken about my EYU experiences on the show before, actually. So I'd love to hear a little bit of insight into what a booth coordinator actually does.
Yeah. Great question, Megan. So the booth coordinator, as in the title, is mostly just in charge of actually getting all of the booths in order. So sending out basically the forms to get interested booths, getting our returning booths, getting our new booths, basically asking them what do they need from us, so what supplies perhaps they need if they can't supply them themselves. And then we go through our inventory. I would say inventorying is maybe the sub name on booth coordinator.
Absolutely.
Booth coordinator 1, inventoryist 2. And so we go through a lot of inventory, we go through our banners, so what previous booth banners we have, boards, and then we basically just communicate with booth leaders on what their booth's going to look like, what their day's going to look like, what supplies we have for them, what supplies we can't get for them, what they should be expecting, what we expect of them. And the other thing that I guess was maybe newer this year was trying to make sure we placed booths kind of in a like sensical way, so that as kids were going through the event, it was easier for them to kind of stay in an area or move through the event within kind of their age range and also within their interests. So we've always had a way of kind of segmenting the booths by kind of like their major topics. Mm-hmm. But this year we wanted to also kind of think about, like, when all these booths have all these different ways of sharing their science, obviously it's going to be more geared towards certain age groups. So working with Natalie on trying to make sure that those age groups were also incorporated into how we were setting up the event, I think was more of an addition this year, which was really exciting and something I'm personally very interested in. So that was, I think, the major things. And then just day of, making sure all the booths have what they need. They asked me a lot of questions. I got to sit in the the question help booth.
The info booth.
The info booth. And that was fun because I got to talk to not only just the booth leaders, but then everyone else who had questions about where certain booths were, what booths were good for their kids to be going to, which was actually really fun. But yeah, that was I think the main things. And then, lose a banner here and there.
Yeah.
Miscount some pencils or something.
Yeah.
Tell people where to plug in their electricity and have a nice time. Yeah. And make sure that like they are having a good time, and it's hopefully as easy for them as possible while being sensical for us as like a major organization, I guess. And then yeah, that's kind of the gist, and it's pretty fun, and it's a lot of, I guess, front end to the actual event.
Yeah.
We start pretty early on, just making sure we can fill up our booths, and and hopefully reaching out to more divisions who are interested in participating, which would be really exciting.
Absolutely. I mean, we welcome anybody who can make a booth technically scientific to join us. I tried to get the Chain of Hearts project from the Center for Diverse Leadership in Science. They might have a new name, but the CDLS. They do this thing every Thursday in the Court of Sciences where they have students write things on paper hearts and they chain them up around campus. It's really beautiful. I really wanted them to do that, but with like something you love about science, or like something science has given you, so you could get everything from kids saying they like rockets to like adults saying that they appreciate medical research that saved their family members. But yeah, we're totally open to everybody joining us. And thank you for the Galactic Seagulls shout out. We are big Natalie fans on here. She did an amazing job with the map this year.
Yeah, so cute.
We probably won't be able to get a map episode out of her only because she's already been on the show so many times. So she's only been, in one episode, but this was back when I was having so many technical difficulties. And so there was one Sunday we used to record in the UCLA radio booth, and Natalie and I were standing outside the booth not knowing the door was locked, and we stood there for an entire hour waiting for the door to get unlocked, and it never happened. It was right after the LA fires.
Yeah, that would do it.
Anyway, thank you so much, DJ Obvious, for everything that you did this year. You make it sound so easy, but this is a crazy job, because not only are you managing 70 booths, but this is 70 personalities, 70 booth leaders, who all have slightly different wants, needs, desires from people, and a lot of them reference legacy things that you didn't know about. It was your first year on the board.
Yes, I would say there's definitely historical things that sometimes you just have no context for, but everyone expects you to have context for.
Yes.
Which is totally fair, because they maybe don't realize that things change internally. But no, I think definitely I learned some Excel skills.
Oh yeah, you did.
I learned some Excel skills. I learned some emailing skills, and I think most important, if you have a big job, is like break it down and ask people for help.
Yeah.
And that's important to learn as like a young student, like a young researcher, I think.
No, I mean, I always really liked that about you. Like, I wasn't worried about what you were stuck on because you would just tell me. And I'm like, of course you're stuck on this. It was like not written anywhere. It was only in my brain.
I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about, Megan. And they're like, you're like, of course you don't.
This is the thing that happened 10 years ago that I was told offhandedly by some faculty member.
Yep.
I mean, that literally happens. But thank you so much for being our booth coordinator. Is there anything else about EYU specifically that you want to share with us?
Oh, I guess just that, well, I think EYU is something really special. And I think that, I think it's great when we have a lot of different departments and people involved, and that if you're someone who loves science, even if you don't think you're necessarily an educator, but you just really love being able to share what you do in maybe a different way than you're used to, that EYU could be a really exciting place for you to try and think about how your research can translate to a younger generation. Especially right now, I think it's super important for kids to still see that there's so many, like such a breadth of things that science can be, and it can be exciting and it can be cool. And for people who are really like deep in their scientific research or their engineering or something like this, that taking like a step back to see, oh, how can I translate this to that type of population could be a really fun experience. So I would like love for if anyone's listening who maybe isn't involved with EYU, but like really loves their research and cares about the future of science, to think about how maybe having a booth at an event like EYU might really be a awesome impact and also awesome for you to experience.
I love this. I am basically hearing the language for the next call for booth leaders.
What?
Do you like
What?
your research? Do you care about the future of science? Come host a booth at EYU and come... I mean, if you're just like a person and maybe you don't have like that much research, aka me, like just join the board. Like we'll train you. And clearly we're very fun.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be the fun episode.
Is this a call for booth leaders? What? Me? Never.
Why would me and you be doing that? We have no interest
I
in
have no what? Yeah. Anyways, maybe it's true. Maybe it could be you.
This is gonna we're gonna transition into our next part where we talk about how you became DJ Obvious, because at some point you were DJ Little Obvious. I don't know, I always try to like say the smaller version of things, so like, you know, with like if you have a planet name, they were like a proto-planet at some point.
Oh, cute.
I don't know what Obvious would be, but anyway, for our next segment I have a small gift for you.
Oh my gosh, a small gift.
Very small.
Oh.
It's a Christmas card!
Oh my god, wait, stop it. This is so cute.
So this year, my partner and I made Christmas cards, and naturally we're in EYU shirts, because that's just...
So, of course.
That's what we do.
Caleb was like little booth coordinator
I
too.
know.
Caleb did like half of booth coordinating.
This is the first time that Caleb's name has ever been spoken on the
dropped
podcast.
on the podcast. I'm sorry, we can cut it.
No, you're good. It wasn't because I was trying not to dox him. I just like, I never want to be the girl that's like my boyfriend all the time.
No, but to be fair, Caleb actually did like.
Yes.
He moved all of the heavy boxes.
Yes.
Except for when sometimes Glenn moved very heavy boxes
Glenn moved
as well.
very heavy boxes. It was crazy.
So shout out for moving
Yes.
all the heavy boxes.
Yes, we love having people who can carry heavy boxes around. No, Caleb does an immense amount of manual labor for me and EYU and all the other stuff that I do. So it's a good time for his shout out. Anyway, you are from the South? No.
Like the Midwest.
You're from the Midwest.
The southern part of the Midwest.
Oh, are you a Midwestern princess?
I am a Midwestern princess.
Okay, what state are you from?
I was originally born in St. Louis, Missouri. So
this is why I thought you were from the South.
Yes.
Okay.
And I grew up in Cleveland and Cincinnati,
right.
Ohio. So Cincinnati is also right on the edge for the people who don't know the geography of the Midwest, which is most people, I would say. It's right on the border between Ohio and Kentucky, but it is truly the Midwest, and we're proud of it.
Yes. No, Caleb is from Minnesota, so
Yes.
I've been learning a lot about being Midwestern. Well, I don't know. They're like rural Minnesota. It's mostly cornfields. And Cleveland, I'm guessing, is much more developed.
Well, yeah, I would say so.
So you also went to college in that area?
Yes.
No, you went to college in Missouri?
In Missouri.
Yes. Because you were in your sorority and you hosted something similar to EYU for your sorority.
Well, sort of.
Okay.
I was in charge of our booth at our carnival.
Oh, yes.
Which is fun. And that was actually just like a general fundraiser. And we did all of our fundraising for Girls on the Run.
Okay, what are Girls on the Run?
So Girls on the Run, it's a national organization, and it just supports young girls getting into running, fitness, and so we would have, actually St. Louis has a 5K run twice a year in the park right outside of my university's campus, and we would have girls who were coaches, so it's kind of just to try and like get girls to, one, like have a community, but also to like feel good about themselves and being like in like a really active sport, feel good about themselves. And like we do a lot about, you know, having like good body positivity and feeling, you know, like, good about being like a strong girl and growing up into like a strong woman. And it was really fun. So we would go to the races, we would support the girls, do coaching, and then we raised money for the organization. So I just ran our little booth. So I started off running one little booth, and we made grilled cheeses and sold grilled cheeses.
I love that.
That was my first little step into booth both bleeding.
When you went from 1 to 70.
I went from
Literally.
1 booth to 70 booths. Yes.
No, I love this message though. You know, when we used to be on UCLA radio, our show would follow the UCLA Body Image Task Force, which is like a body positivity organization. And I just like, I would sit in the booth and I'd hear their show going on, and it just like made me feel so good about myself. And then, you know, when it was our turn, I was suddenly super happy and excited. I'm like, you know what? I do love myself just from hearing that message over and over again. So that's really cool that your sorority supported that.
Yeah, it was really fun also. And it's a very pink, fun little thing, but I think the root of the message is really good and really important. So I always enjoyed it. It was a fun time. It was always freezing cold.
Wait, okay, is it cold in Missouri?
It does get cold in Missouri.
Okay,
it's
that's so
probably
confusing
snowing
to me.
right now.
What?
And the race was normally in like November, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
And it was always super, super frigid, but that's kind of a great time to go on a little run anyways.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's, you know, it was always good. Yeah, and Girls on the Run is like a huge national organization, so it's impacted, I think, like really a lot of like young women, and it's fun. Yeah. we like it.
Okay, so something I don't know about you, what did you study in college, and how did you get into grad school?
Yeah, okay, so I went to WashU in St. Louis, Washington University in St. Louis.
Okay, what?
In that...
Okay, sorry, is there a Washington in St. Louis too? Or are there three?
It's not. Washington University in St. Louis is named after the president, Washington.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Yes,
Sure,
and
yeah.
so we have a statue of him on campus, you know, sometimes it gets...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but anyways,
I understand.
we have a statue of him. That's, I think, what it's named after.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a university, so we have research faculty.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the smaller side. I applied in as an anthropology major.
You know, I see that for you.
So I applied in as an anthropology major. I picked up my chemistry, like, basically immediately. I really liked chemistry in college, like in high school. So I was like, oh, I'll take the chemistry classes. I'm going to take the anthropology classes. The nice thing about my university was a lot of people did double majors or a major and some minors. It was a pretty flexible curriculum in that sense. So I was studying anthropology, I was studying chemistry, I was taking, we had these first year seminar courses, and I was taking a first year seminar in environmental humanities. And
Okay.
I found it really, really fascinating. It was really fun. It was a really nice bridge, I think, between, you know, more STEM-focused coursework and more humanities-focused coursework. And the whole idea of it was just how are people impacted by their environment, where they're living, do people connect to place, do people connect to, you know, different parts of their ecosystem in ways, how do we understand it as people? And then I took the second course in that seminar series, which was about our understanding of the nuclear era. And what was really cool about that class was it was half, or like 75% taught in the environmental humanities by a humanities professor, and 25% of it was taught by a professor of chemistry who studied nuclear chemistry.
Okay, so this is nuclear bombs and non-nuclear families.
This is nuclear energy.
Oh my god.
So,
Okay, there was a third option.
There was a third option. So this was nuclear energy. And really we were just learning about why do we think about nuclear energy the way we do, which is totally along the lines of why you would have thought of nuclear bombs first, right?
Yeah.
Because they kind of started developing around the same time period. And obviously it's a little bit more in the front of our minds as, you know, when people are heavily impacted by something immediately. So yeah, it was about nuclear energy, and I just realized that I really enjoyed learning about the clean energy, but through this lens of chemistry, which I hadn't really experienced. So I kept on with chemistry as the second major, and then I was really drawn to it, and I thought I kind of want to do more of this work in the actual science of energy, and like specifically in clean energy and alternative fuels and things like that. And so I just kind of started talking to my advisor about it, and he said, you know, there's a new professor coming in and you should really talk to him. And his name is Robert Wexler. He's awesome.
Shout out to Robert Wexler.
Shout out to Robert Wexler. He basically took me on with, like, I had zero experience. I did not know what was going on. And I started working on basically, it's called solar thermochemical hydrogen.
Okay.
And
solar, sun, thermal, heat,
Mm-hmm.
chemical, everything, hydrogen.
Yep.
One.
H2
H2.
in this case. So what the idea is that we have these metal oxides, and they're normally perovskites, and we heat them up with solar energy to super high temperatures. We create these oxygen vacancies, and then we can pass water over the material, and they're going to pull out the oxygen to refill the vacancy, and you produce hydrogen, which we can then use as clean hydrogen fuel.
Yeah.
And it's a catalytic cycle. So I ended up in catalysis.
Okay, so it's a catalytic cycle, meaning it's like self-perpetuating?
Yeah, so
It makes
basically,
itself
like,
go.
we remake our catalyst at the end, and our
Yeah.
catalyst is that material, that metal oxide. And all of this we were doing, basically trying to make a way of predicting what that vacancy formation energy would be.
Okay.
So is there a way for us to try and make a model, like a very linear, simple model based on easily calculated properties of the material, and then we would be able to take this and kind of extrapolate to try and find better materials to use so we could optimize the process. And so all of this is like computational and theoretical chemistry.
Yeah.
Ended up in catalysis, ended up in this kind of like really cool like materials situation. And so I just really liked it, and then I went, and he basically pushed me to say you should try and like see other versions of this if you're interested in doing it.
Why did it sound like you were gonna be like, you should see other people?
You should see other. We're breaking up.
An advisor has to do that to you in order for you to grow, but that's how it feels sometimes.
It does. So I did an internship, and I was working on a different system, but kind of similar methodologies, and stayed in heterogeneous catalysis. And I was like, wow, like this is really fun. It's very widely applicable. There's so many different types of systems that you could be working on, working with. I liked the freedom of computation because it feels less like you're a slave to your experiments and more like your experiments are a slave to you.
Yes, I agree with that.
So I really just was drawn to it. And then, yeah, like you said, I got broken up with, and my advisor told me, you need to move on.
Yeah.
You need to think about other places. And my advisor here, I'm in like Anastasia Alexandrova's group, and she...
Can you say that a little louder?
Anastasia Alexandrova's group.
Cool,
so she's awesome. She works also broadly in catalysis, and I wanted to stay in heterogeneous catalysis, and so I was excited. It kind of aligned with the type of research that I like to do, that I've continued to like to do, and hopefully I will continue to do so, and like grow into like more broad topics.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes you take a class in the humanities and you end up in a chemistry PhD program.
That is crazy.
So it could happen to anyone.
This is a warning.
This is a
anybody
warning.
listening in a
You
humanities
could
program.
end up in a PhD by accident. Not by
Yeah.
accident, but you know.
You know, our previous guest, Ava, DJ Honk, really wants to claim that she ended up in this PhD by accident. She's like, on a whim, I just applied here. And I'm like, well... Like,
That's crazy.
You have to have been like a really stellar student to have done that, but okay, sure. No, but this, I understand why this feels like an accident, because you just like happen to fall in love with it in class. I remember I was in math class, and I used to hate math so much because I really didn't want to be seen as masculine, and I just like pretended to hate it. And my teacher one day was like, we're gonna learn trig identities. I thought I hated math until I learned trig identities, and then I fell in love with math. And in my brain, I was like, I better not fall in love with math. And then I like did from trig identities.
That's so cute though.
Shout out to Eleanor Caldwell, but anyway.
Sometimes it happens that way where you
Yeah.
don't think you're gonna end up in a situation, and then you totally end up in that situation. And I think also like having a broad kind of experience in your
Yeah.
academic setting can be really useful, because sometimes I'm very grateful to like all of the things I learned in anthropology, because I think it just gave me a broader understanding of people and communities and how cultures work, like subcultures, and also different ways to learn, because it's super different. And yeah, and sometimes and it also reminds like you can do something in science and you can also do something not in science. And that's okay and that's good, and you're allowed to like different types of things, and it doesn't make you any certain type of way.
Yeah.
I think I wish I had known that in high school.
Me too.
Like, I think in high school you're like, oh, I'm this or I'm that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm a math person or I'm a French,
Yeah.
I'm an English person or I'm a math person, but you can't be both.
The temptation to like have a label and like be able to feel your identity by labeling yourself as a high school student is just, it's so strong.
It's so strong. And I don't know if there's a way out of it other than just growing up a little.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
So did you end up graduating with a double major?
I did.
Wow, very cool.
Yes, I did. Did both, and I was lucky to be in an environment where I could do both.
Yeah.
It was really nice, and I honestly gained a lot from having the ability to do it. I also think because I did my first year of school during COVID,
Oh, yeah.
it also kind of helped, because there really wasn't anything else to do but maybe like talk
extra
to your
classes.
like 3 friends and take extra classes. So I technically had like a very overloaded schedule, but it didn't feel that way.
Yeah,
Because COVID was a weird time.
Did you
Yeah.
live at home or were you still on campus?
I was on campus because
Oh,
I was at
okay.
a pretty small my college was smaller.
Yeah.
Which I really appreciated because I think it was really important. And I met like my best friend ever on the very first day of school.
Aw.
So, you know, very thankful that I got to go to campus.
I love that for you.
Yeah, it's cute.
Okay, speaking of cute, we're gonna start wrapping up. But first, what does DJ obvious mean? I think it's obvious, but if you want to explain how you came up with that and its significance to you.
Well, my nickname is Avi, so DJ Obvious is, an obvious choice. And I don't know if there's not really a deeper meaning than that, but I guess I could extrapolate just to say sometimes things are just as obvious as you make them. So
I like anthropology and chemistry, so all double major. Duh, I don't need to feel confined.
Yeah.
Okay, so our last question, and you can answer however you want. I've heard some crazy answers. Some people with like the $20 give a snack. If little DJ Obvious was a child at EYU, what would she have wanted to hear from one of the adults? Maybe even the booth coordinator at the info table.
What would I have wanted to hear? I mean, probably that I could go play with something or like, yes, you can touch that.
Yeah.
Because I think I was just like a very hands-on kind of kid. And we used to go to the science center by my grandparents' house a lot, and it was very interactive, and I think I had a lot of energy that needed to go, so I definitely would have really enjoyed someone being like, yeah, you can just go have fun, you can talk to whoever you want,
Yes.
everyone is gonna be nice to you,
Yes.
everyone's gonna let you like try and handle it, and you can try it for yourself and you can see for yourself and you can ask all of the questions you want to ask, and nobody's gonna be mad, nobody's gonna be upset, they're all gonna answer. And I think that would have made me really, really happy.
I love that.
Yeah.
Permission
To just ask and just be yourself and to touch all the toys that you want. And the toys are probably actually models, but that's fine.
It's fine. They expected you to do that this year. And
Yes.
you and Natalie actually built that out of a whole segment of the Court of Sciences. It was Kids Corner with all the interactive stuff. Yeah, so like all the slimes, everything that you could like physically touch as a model was all in the same area this year.
Which is so fun.
was
We
so
love
cool.
it. We love it.
Okay, DJ
Yes.
Obvious, where can people keep up with you or clean energy research or your clean energy research, your catalysis?
Catalysis.
Heterogeneous.
Heterogeneous catalysis.
I was so close.
Well, you can look up my last name on Google Scholar if you want.
Which we haven't said yet.
Is that a new one?
Well, we haven't said your last name.
Oh, Isakov, Isakov.
I didn't want to butcher it.
No worries. And what else? I mean, I always suggest, if you're interested in research, most like publications will send you emails about the type of research that you're interested in.
Yeah.
You can also plug for, I think they're called on Instagram right now, the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. They will post really cool research that they're up to. Yeah, so formerly NREL, now National Lab of the Rockies, but they have really cool research. You can always go check it out. And yeah, subscribe to publications if you have the ability to, and just read whatever makes you excited.
Well, thank you so much for coming. I did think you were going to say to subscribe to our podcast, but it's okay. It'll be in the bumper.
Subscribe to the podcast, guys. Follow us on Instagram.
Yes.
Shout out to our awesome interns who run all of our social media.
I love them so much.
Follow our Eventbrite. Can you do that?
Yes, they can follow us on Eventbrite. That's right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, DJ Obvious. It was so lovely to have you. Anything else you want to share? One last final thought.
I love EYU.
Don't we all?
I hope to see you there next year.
Never stop exploring.